What's up, everybody? Welcome to Power Hour with me, your host, Ron Harris, and of course, the one and only Big Mike Cox, originally from the Buckeye State of Ohio, now living in the Sunshine State of Florida, fellow meathead for life, fellow bodybuilding superfan for life, and we're going to get right into it. But before we start talking about the Olympia qualification, all that, thoughts and prayers out to Ronnie Coleman.
Yes.
We don't know exactly what happened. They're being very private about it, which is understandable, the family. He's had some sort of medical emergency, and he's getting the best care possible. We do know that. He did have to cancel his tour, or postpone, I should say, with Giles, who normally hosts Power Hour with me. He would have actually been picked up this morning in the UK at the airport. So this happened, and me and Mike were just talking. It's probably for the best. That it's terrible that whatever happened, but at least he wasn't already over or on a plane or in the UK. He's in the U.S. He's going to get the best care possible with his family around him. So thoughts and prayers. God bless Ronnie.
Yes. Love Ronnie, bro.
Yeah, who doesn't love? How can you not love Ronnie? I mean,
they get him right. These guys are. I mean, kids now don't. I don't know if they can grasp how big he is to us. Like the enormity of that is Ronnie Coleman, because we've all seen him either guest pose or at the Olympia, and in person, it was a different level of nastiness that these kids right now have no idea. When you sit there, I'll sit there like this, like I couldn't say anything. Like when a physique makes you shut up, that's a hell of a physique. And he's a good guy too, bro. So get well, Ronnie.
All right. So let's jump right into it. There's too many damn people in the Olympia. That's the bottom line. Every time we've added divisions, which I understand for the sport to grow and to sustain itself financially, they had to keep adding only division. It's fine. But what that did is it made the Olympia a bigger, longer show. Every time they add a division, now you have another division that has to be judged, given awards to, posing routines, whatever. We're at the point now. I got some footage here. This was the classic guys last year. This is just them filing out for the judging. And I think there were almost 57, 60, roughly 60, put it that way.
Yeah.
This crowd of, I don't know, 5,000 people has to sit there while the judges, they have to do their due diligence because everybody earned their way there under the current system. They all deserve to get a fair look. So nobody gets left out on the sidelines without a call out. So you have to, as a judge, as a head judge, make time for all those people. And it's a haul. If you're sitting there in the audience, we both like classic, and we're not neither one of us is fans of all the divisions. I mean, we respect them, but I don't want to necessarily sit through an hour or 2 hours of bikini judging. The best way I put it, Mike, is somebody said it's kind of like going to a music festival and there's 40 bands playing and you only kind of like three. You really love one or two of them, and you kind of like three or four others, and the rest are like, but you're there for the weekend. You got to stick around. So that's classic. I mean, look at this.
It's the best way to do this, Ron. Remember back in the day when we had the cut round at Nationals? You come out there, quarter turn, foul off. All right, this guy stay, you say. The rest of you guys, bye-bye. This is the best of the best, right? And everybody earned their trip there. They earned their strike. They won a pro show. That's hard to do. Yeah. But now you're dealing with the best of the best. And unfortunately, if you're in the 12th call out, you're not the best of the best. And that's just the reality of sports, right? I had to try out for a basketball team in high school. Yeah. I didn't get to go, hey, I'm going to join the team because I'm enrolled in high school. You got to try out. They want the best of the best. And at the Olympia, it's the best of the best, right? So, but dude, it's 1 o'clock it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Manny, 1 year, bro, remember Mandy got up while I was on the show. She said, "Are you still watching that damn show?" From work that day, dude. It's again, man. It's not fair to some of the, maybe to the athletes, but to the fans too, right? You got to go. There's fans overseas. Giles can't watch this,
right?
It's
nobody in Europe. Everyone in Europe is. Me and you are 3 hours ahead of West Coast where the Olympia is held. Those people are another 5 to 7 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
Middle East is like another couple hours on top of that. Asia, so forget about it.
And that may be revenue you're missing too. Are you going to buy this and fall asleep?
You can't tape it. You could watch it the next day, but what's the point?
Yeah, you already know.
It's kind of like taping the Super Bowl and watching it like 2 days later or something.
Mandy goes, why don't you just tape the game? I'm like, why would I tape a football game? It's already over with. What are you talking about, bro?
So the invite-only concept, I don't know whose idea that was. Immediately I think, how's that going to work? I mean, the Arnold Classic has always been invitation only, but that's sort of what separated it from the Olympia. Olympia, you have to earn your way there. Arnold Classic, it's not really earned in the same sense. You didn't have to win a show. They do invite all the top Olympia people. They invite the biggest names, and they try to get basically the whole top 15 in Olympia if they can, because they want the highest quality show too. They're giving out some good money. But the Olympia has always been, you got to earn your way there. I mean, I think when we were young, when we started following the sport, wasn't the top 10 every year?
Top 10 at the Olympia, top 5 at every pro show.
Yeah, because there weren't, how many pro shows were there back when we were kids?
3, not pro world, Night of Champions, Olympia, maybe a pro world show over in Europe, and maybe a couple Grand Prix shows after the Olympia.
Yeah.
And that's it, bro. That's not a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the sport has grown. There's no doubt it has grown exponentially since those days, even open bodybuilding.
Growth, though, but sometimes growth is too much. Listen, my last company I worked with, we grew really fast and I got laid off. Ooh. So growth is good, but at what expense? At the expense of quality, right? Not saying the Olympia is not a quality event, but Ryan, when you have it's July, it's not even July, and how many men's physique shows, how many bikini shows? I mean, just are there left until the cutoff?
We're going to take around the world. We're going to get into it. Trust me. But as far as the invite, so let's say there was an invite, and let's say, Mike Cox, we want you to be in charge of who gets invited. Obviously, past winners, but who else gets invited? How do you? Is it based on merit? I mean, who do you think is the best? Who's going to sell more tickets? What do you do?
Here's what I would do, right? Okay, I would say obviously past Olympia winners, I would automatically invite the top 10 automatically, right? And however many pro shows, right? You got to say maybe you have to win an additional 3 pro shows to get an invite. So how many? I just say there's, and I suck at math, people, so don't talk shit. Say there's 10 pro shows, right? You get 15 guys in those. Whoever wins those 10 pro shows goes to Olympia. 10 automatically, and 10, and now the 10 that automatically qualified, but if they want to do a pro show, they can do a show too. It makes it more entertaining. But I like the top 10. You the top 10 you're the top 10 in the world, right? You deserve. I feel you deserve another shot to come back. There's a lot of pro bodybuilders, right? Yeah. So the top 10, I feel like automatic invite, and then let the rest fight for it. It makes it more entertaining, kind of like a gladiator cutthroat guy. So what if Hadi wants to do 5 pro shows? He takes up those slots. Hey man, you get this, and we're at Ron. I'm old school. If you want to stop somebody, just beat them. Yeah. Don't get pissy because somebody's competing. Beat the dude, right?
Yeah. The thing about the invite only that immediately where it falls apart is it's either going to be based on merit, like who really deserves to be there, and who's to decide, some committee or something. I don't even know how that works. Or are they just going to say, well, this is a business, which it is. This is all about money, guys. If you didn't realize that, let me tell you right now, it's 100% about money. It's a business.
Everything.
Business is about profit. That's what businesses do. They make money. So would they invite someone like, I don't know, some social names? I can only think of Sam Sulek, who's not open. That's classic. But would you invite Sam Sulek to be in the Classic Physique Olympia, even though there's only 15 guys, because he's got 1 billion followers and he's going to bring a lot of eyes to the show and people are going to follow the pay-per-view?
Listen, it's a business, man. If you get butthurt, you get butthurt. Go find something else to do. Yeah. But listen, college football has a committee that picks the 12 best teams based on their previous performance. Now, some teams get left out and some teams get butthurt. But guess what? You're butthurt. You're mad for a minute. The games start playing. We forget about you. Happens in bodybuilding, right? What happened? Nick and Derek were kind of an afterthought right now. We're going to Tampa, bro. So if you get butthurt, you get left out. You get left out. Yeah. Listen, these guys know where they stand in this sport. We know where they stand. We know there's tiers to this. It is what it is. And you said, Ron, it's a business. It's entertainment. I want to be entertained. I want Nextzilla at the Olympia. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like say he hadn't won the show for like maybe Nathan jumped in and which Nathan would have won. I believe Nathan would have won that show that was over the weekend over there in Italy. But would you invite Nextzilla, because he does have a massive fan base, even if he didn't earn his way there? If it's invite only, I think someone like that, invitation only really opens the door for favoritism, politics, and just profit-driven selections rather than who really deserves to be there. I don't think you want to get into things like who deserves to be there, because then it's too subjective, and people are not. You're gonna have a lot of disagreements and a lot of butthurt people when you do it that way.
But think about Ron. Think about the conversation on social media. Think about all that chatter all year long. Was so and so going to get in? Is he going to get in? It just makes for more talk. Listen, man. There's certain times in this sport, Ron. It's a lot. There's not much going on. And we're trying to find anything to pick at, right? So when you have a lot, like when they had the point system, it was talk, right? It was chatter. So and so deserve. It was exciting to see who was going to qualify, right? And for me, I don't give a shit how many open guys there are because I love bodybuilding. I love it, right? Yeah. Now 25 is a lot, but even 15 to 20 for me, Ron, I just love bodybuilding. So I'm biased for 212 and open, right? Let them all do it. But
you're not going to have. This is the open. You saw how packed the stage was. This is the Open Olympia from last year. It's not that crowded. There's not that many guys. I think it was like 24 guys in the show or something.
Yeah,
that's very manageable. Whereas when you have 60 people, anywhere between 50 and 60, and I think this year we might even see higher numbers. When I show you how many competitions, how many shows have already happened, how many are still going to happen. Open. There aren't that many open shows, as you'll see, because it costs promoters a lot more money. Because I think we had a private glimpse. We're not going to say how we saw it, but we saw what the sanction fees are. An open division charges, IFBB, the Pro League charges promoters a lot more money for open sanction than many of the other divisions. I think bikini and MPD were like a fraction of the price.
Hardly nothing compared to open. But guess what? And again, I think you should have feelings that are involved in this, Ron. Like you said before, it's a business. What do we want to see in October on a Saturday night? The open men. That's what we pay our ticket for. That's why me and you are up at 2 o'clock in the goddamn morning waiting for these guys to come out. And again, and maybe I'm playing devil because the bad guy here, but sometimes feelings get hurt in sports. Feelings get hurt in business.
Yeah. Right.
Like Arnold didn't get to where he was being a nice guy. I hear there's horror stories about Arnold business. You don't get to be rich being nice. And Dan and Jake have an issue with the size of this show. It's grown so much that when it grows so much from something's going to go. And next year, guess what's next year? Don't they have the fit model ladies coming on?
Yeah. They have to. People were saying, well, they're never going to have. You can't have a pro division and not to have them represent the Olympia. It's not an option. You have to have them. This year they didn't have to do it because it was they're still building pros. I think there's only a few pros, but by next year they're going to have.
Yeah,
they'll have like 50 pros, 100 pros that are fit model pros, and they'll be able to have all their pro shows qualify for Olympia. So this is what I came up with. We can talk about that. I came up with because I'm mathematically challenged just like you, Mike. So I had to make it very, very simple. Top 3 from the previous Olympia qualify, and that's in across all divisions. Open, all pro show wins qualify for open because there's not that many of them. That's the only reason. It's not because I think open's great and everyone else sucks. It's just a sheer numbers thing. We're not gonna have 70 open guys on stage. Someone just pointed out it's going to be about 16. Okay, so tier 1 shows, and maybe I missed one, but I think Arnold, obviously, the Pittsburgh, where I left the H off the end, my bad, guys. Dubai and New York Pro, those are all $30,000 and up.
Yeah.
Those are. Did I miss any shows that are
no,
big ones?
Those are big ones. Those are real big ones.
Okay, so if you win any of those shows in any division, be it open, 212, wellness, whatever, you qualify. All other divisions, if there are more than 25 pro shows, and there are, You got to win 2 to qualify. I'm not going to make it any more complicated than that. I think it's a very simple way. You got to have 2 pro wins, unless you want a tier 1 show, which, as we just said, you're in. And this is how I define a tier 1 show. It has to have open bodybuilding, because a lot of these pro shows do not have open bodybuilding.
No, trust me, down here especially.
Dude, the vast majority of pro shows only have they're held with an amateur show, and there's only like 2 or 3 pro divisions. Sometimes only 1. It's usually like bikini, men's physique, classic, 2 or 3 of those. Each of those, and that's it. Or sometimes just like a wellness, something. It's tacked on because it's, like I said, it's a cheaper sanction fee. They don't make money off the pro shows. I don't know if it was Tim Gardner that told me that the pro shows aren't really profitable at all for most promoters. The amateur shows are where they make their money. The pro shows, you got to pay the big sanction fees. You got to pay the prize money. They don't fly them out of the ring, but it's a lot more expensive.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Listen, it's a lot, bro. Like, I think sometimes we think they're making they're millionaires, but when you see it's a lot of what Tim does, man. It's a lot of stuff going on, right? But I think what you just put up there, I think you probably should like trademark that or do something, because that's a damn good idea. And someone may try to steal that idea. So like Ron Harris's idea, but it makes it easy, dude. That's very simple, right? And maybe if you win the Olympia, you qualify for life, obviously. But that top 3 round, it makes it very interesting because you get Samson, Derek, Hottie, then everybody else has to qualify. But it makes sense, man. It just you got to do something because, and again, I like the invite because I think it's real cutthroat. And you may have to wait your turn. You may have to wait your turn, right? So I like the invite, but that what you just presented, bro, it's a damn good idea.
I actually stole part of the idea from this gentleman, Raven Vulcan. He was putting that up during my coverage of the Italy show, and I said, well, I'll do a whole show about this because we don't want to talk about it now. We're talking about Rubiel Nexzilla winning the show, but he gave me a good idea to come up with this. So thank you, Raven. You're actually the one that gave me the idea to do this.
Shout out, Raven.
Otherwise, I would have waited like another couple months to do this show. But I want to show the pro schedule just so you can see how different the divisions are as far as representation in terms of how many contests there are. So let's go to, this is a great website, guys. If you don't know about ifbbpro.com, like this is where every Monday early evening, if there's a contest the next weekend, this is where the, like you'll see right here, about the IFBB Pro League. Got to go back one. So here's the homepage has the flyers for the shows. And, the competitor list for Mr. Big Evolution has just been added.
Nice.
So this is where you go to check that out. And I'm just curious. Open. Good. Nathan Dasher. Congratulations, Nathan. You won.
There you go.
Oh, but Nexzilla, he's going again. Wow.
No way.
Okay.
Oh, dude.
Good for him.
See, this is exciting. Like, I don't get this kind of excitement, no offense, with wellness. But go ahead.
No, that's it. I'm surprised Nexzilla stuck around Europe.
That's good, bro. Right?
That's a competitor right there.
Now, listen. Now, see, we have something to talk about too. Because what if Nathan doesn't win? What if Nexzilla wins again?
Right.
Right. That's exciting to see. This is gonna be some good shit, man.
Yeah. We'll talk about the point system later because I wouldn't mind seeing that back, to be honest. But all right. So this tab here, you go to Pro Schedule. On the left, it's by division. So I have it clicked on men's bodybuilding right now, so you can see. I always go to the bottom first to see how many of these shows are there. Now, obviously, the ones that happen after the Olympia, they're not qualifiers for this year's Olympia. So the Olympia happens in October 9th through 12th. So everything after that is a qualifier for 2026. So even though it says 46 entries, it looks like about the last 10 of them are not qualifiers for. So like 36. And then if you look and see, some of these are natural shows. Those don't qualify for the Olympia. Some of them are only master shows, which again, you're not getting. Nope. You don't get to the Olympia on a Masters show win. It's not the way it works. But still, it's a pretty manageable. Look at big font and everything. You can rip through that pretty quick. Men's 212. How many 212 shows? So
hardly any.
So there's 28, and of course, anything after the Olympia. So about roughly the last 10 of those don't count for this year. And again, you subtract all the ones that are master shows. On the left, it tells you open, open, open. So all these, okay. The only one, the Masters Pro World, doesn't qualify you. And I think was there a natural one? Can you believe there's an open bodybuilding show in Mexico? I don't think anybody even realizes this. It's after the Olympia.
Is it really? Nice qualification, maybe.
All right, so now we go to classic physique. Whoo-wee, look at that. It takes me like a minute just to scroll down.
2 pages, probably.
And then you go to the bottom, it tells you 98 there's 98 shows on this list for this year.
Dude, come on, bro.
98 classic physique. And again, I'm going to just roughly estimate, I don't know, 10%, 10 or 15% of those don't count toward the Olympia because they're, let's say 20%, either after the Olympia or they're masters only shows. There are some shows that are just masters, or if they're natural shows, which is great, but those don't get you into the Olympia. So 98 men's physique. Let's see if they can beat.
Oh God.
Okay, we had 98. We have 106.
Dude, really?
106. I always go to the bottom. 106 entries for men's physique shows. Takes you a while to scroll down. Okay, so far they're in the lead. Wheelchair is going to be tiny, I'm sure. Yeah, eight entries, including the Olympia and the Arnold. Two Arnold. So aside from the Arnold, the 2 Arnold shows in the Olympia, there's only 5 other ways they can get to the Olympia. So that's obviously a smaller division. Women's bodybuilding, that won't be very big either.
3.
Oh, wait, I'm surprised. Yeah,
okay.
20.
Really?
Which is more than I thought. Yeah, maybe I should amend how I qualified.
But listen though, with the women's bodybuilding, the ladies got to start showing up because the numbers. I mean, the numbers of the competitors aren't very much, right? Like in New York or Toronto, there were what, like 3 or 4, something like that.
It's not good.
No.
So they had a pretty small. That's a small division for shows. Women's fitness, goodness gracious.
God bless those girls.
17, including the Masters Olympia, the Arnold. So it's not a lot of. Any of these divisions where there's not that many, I have no problem with. Obviously, all these show winners should get to the Olympia.
Right. Yes, definitely.
Women's figure is going to be big, not as big as it used to be. 53 shows for women's figure this year, pro shows. Bikini. So what's our leader right now? 106. Can we beat 106?
I'll say 122.
Let's see if you're right. Let's get down there. 115. You weren't that far off.
Wow.
Okay, so
I would have won if Price is Right.
So we got to win because, like I said, a lot of these. I don't want to. If I even mention a particular show that's held with a regional show, people go, "Hey, you're saying that's a small, easy show?" Well, yeah, a lot of them are. Sorry to say, they're held with regional NPC shows.
And Ron, listen to we can't. In my opinion, this is my opinion. A pro card should not be awarded at the Junior USA or Junior Nationals. Right? You're given. Is the bikini class J, no offense, in the Junior Nationals going to go on to the Olympia? Maybe, but the odds are no, right? It's just, is that really needed? You know what I mean? Do you need 100? There's going to be 70 physique guys on stage, bro. Like at least, I guarantee there may be like close to 80 girls. If Ashley doesn't win half the shows,
yeah,
there'll be like close to 100 bikini girls on stage, and then Jake pays for all that, right?
Yes, that's another thing people don't consider. They don't care. They don't care what the Olympia, because they think the Olympia is making billions of dollars. Yeah, they make some good money. I'm sure they do, but it's a lot of work and it's a shit ton of money they're spending to put this thing on. They fly every one of these people out, and a lot of these people are from Europe, Asia. We got a ton of Europeans and Asians that they got to fly out to Vegas for this, and they're putting them up at the very expensive hotel for like 5 days. They give them money per diem for food every day, a food budget. Like someone said, I think Chris Cormier pointed out, they've had to cut back on things like the tracksuits they get now. They used to have their names on all of them. They don't do that anymore.
No.
I don't think they can afford to.
You gotta save money somehow, right? That's the least. At least you're getting a tracksuit, right? You're at the Olympia, but again, something's gonna pop. There's gonna become a time to where financially it's just not gonna be doable. But God bless them because they're up in the prize money every year too. So I don't know, bro. You got to figure this out, man. I would just say because this is frightening. The numbers are it's alarming.
Well, so now we get to women's physique, and they're on the decline too. You can tell by the number of shows because promoters aren't going to put shows on if there's no one showing up to compete in them. They're not going to have divisions. Like I've seen that's why you don't see that many shows with women's fitness, with women's bodybuilding, because why are you going to get sponsorships and get the awards and all that, and then no one shows up? You have like 3 people show up. It's not, so only 31 events all year long, pro events for women's physique.
Wow.
Which I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if that division is going to go away or what's going to happen with it.
Ron,
yeah.
Listen, everything's starting to blend together, bro. Figure. I love it. Listen, we love it, right? I love the freak show. I love the ladies division, but that's a whole nother topic.
So wellness is the last one listed, 66 entries. No, I mean, it's not as bad. I mean, so bikini was a winner, I believe. I think.
Yeah. Congrats, lady. 122.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, though, next year, because they don't have Fit Model listed there on the left.
Oh,
they're not going to start pro shows for that division until next year. But I bet that's going to blow the doors off the bikini numbers.
Now, it may do that, but remember, the criteria has to stay the same. But Ron, listen, it's an easier division. It's an easier entry to pro car, right? And everybody wants to turn pro. Everybody wants to be remembered. Everybody wants to be bigger than dad. So it's an easier path, right? And I've seen, no offense to some of the ladies, but you see that a lot at the gym in Zumba class, right? So it's just, and again, it's a business. So it's more entries. Prep coaches have more clients. More entry for the nationals. It's a snowball effect. It's genius marketing, right? It's a genius business model. God bless them.
Yeah.
It's going to sustain this for a long time. But unfortunately, I think it's going to cut into women's physique, maybe figure, and women's bodybuilding again, man. Like, y'all got to step it up.
Yeah. I mean, I keep harping on this, but once you understand that it's all business and it's all about a profit, this isn't like a charity. This isn't, the grant, the nobility of athletic competition. It's not the Olympics, guys. Not that the Olympics is even that anymore itself.
Right.
But I guarantee you in Pittsburgh or somewhere, there's a meeting every year and they get together like any corporation should and say, okay, things are going good. How can we make them better? How can we get more profit? Because that's what a business does. And that's what Fit Model was created for. Let's add another division where, how do we get more competitors? Because that's an NPC card now is like $140 or $150.
Yeah.
My son had to buy one a couple months ago. So that's money in the entries for the shows and this and that. And everybody makes money.
Ron, when you're in it head first, when you're a competitor and your nose to the grind, you don't see that. Like, we can see that now, like kind of on the outside looking in, that it's a business. But when you're in that, when we were in there, I didn't care. Like, I didn't give a shit. I thought they were millionaires making money, and like they're kind of hoarding the money away from everybody. Yeah. So like you're like, oh, these rich guys. Then I see what they pay them. Like, it's a labor of love, man.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of these smaller promoters, they probably break even and maybe make a little bit of money. They're not living that large. They're not buying Bugatti stuff, they're on the friggin' St. Louis Pro, or I just pissed off all the people in St. Louis. I had to come up with something that sounded like a smaller show. But I mean, they have shows out in places like Idaho and friggin' Kansas, out of the way places that aren't huge metropolitan areas. So the point system. What about bringing that back? Because the only reason I didn't like it was because it made me do math, and I don't, But you said it was kind of cool because they had on the Olympia website, MrOlympia.com, guys. Mm-hmm. They had the point standings, and you could see at any time who had the most points or the least points, and every week it would change when there's another show. So it was kind of exciting, like who's going to make the Olympia, and how many more points does this guy need, and how many more shows left, and how many points, because there were different points for different placings at tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So there was a little bit of thinking involved, but it did make it kind of exciting, didn't you think?
It was fun. It was fun to watch. It was fun to follow along. The math sucked, but you're right. What if you put like maybe a cash bonus to whoever has the most points? Yeah, you go to the Olympia, but guess what? You also, hey, here's 10 grand. because you accumulate the most points throughout the year. It's something for the fans to latch on to in bodybuilding, especially even like for European guys too, right? Don't forget, we have shows in Europe, a lot of shows in Europe as well, and a lot of good quality competitors over there too. So having that point system, man, it made you follow along to some guys that maybe got hot and maybe picked the right shows at the right time that may not have qualified for the Olympia normally. But here's so-and-so like from Eastern Lithuania doing the Olympia, right? And he's got fans over there. But when you don't need this for classes where there's humongous shows, right? There's 70 whatever bikini show, just 122 bikini. You don't need a point system to bring more girls on, right? It's done. But bodybuilding is special because it's harder. Yes, it's a lot harder than everything else.
Yeah.
And it's the draw. It's the main event of the evening, right? So that's exactly what you want to see. That's what you come for. So I love the point system. I think it would do great. Set it up so maybe like even like the 4th and 5th place guy gets some points. So they're not discouraged. So maybe it goes down to a little bit further. So even those guys, maybe they peak a little bit later. You know, they don't do good in Pittsburgh, but hey, Tampa, they nail it. So it's just it's something for the sport to do, to talk about more. And think about it. There's so many media outlets now that everybody's talking. It gives people more to talk about, right? And everybody benefits.
Yeah. So Sasan Haradi is a good example of, even though he eventually did win a show, where do you win, the M-Pro or something?
M-Pro, and
he won one show, but it took him five shows before that. He started the season off in March, second to Bonac. Then he did, was it Pittsburgh or New York? One of the, he got several second.
Febo too.
Second to Andrew Jack. He got second to Regan Grimes. And under the point system, that probably would have given him enough points to get to Olympia, because I think it was top 3 in the point standings. But we don't have that now. So he had to keep going, because it was either win a show or that's it. You're not going to the Olympia. But I've heard other people say, well, if you can't win the show, if you're taking only second places, you shouldn't be at the Olympia anyway.
No, listen. Second place in a professional bodybuilding competition. I think people look at this like it's kind of like, this is pretty easy. But being second in a professional bodybuilding show is not easy to do. Becoming a professional bodybuilder is hard. Becoming a successful to where you place top 10. We're talking about second place to Andrew Jacked, right? Like Andrew Jack. So I think when people say, oh, he can't do, you took second, you're not good. Yeah, he is, right? Second place is great. A lot of good second place guys made it to the Olympia before. So, but again, with Sas, man, he would have made it. And you know what, too, Ron? He would have been taking up a lot of points from somebody else that maybe we had to keep competing. It's competition.
Right.
I think we get away from this, that everybody gets a trophy and everybody should be there. And no, you did good, Johnny. No, Johnny, sometimes you tell Johnny you suck. You know what I mean? Like my coach kicked me in the ass in 8th grade when I missed the block in 8th grade, right? A coach here got fired from grabbing a kid's face mask. My coach grabbed my face mask, spit all in my face. But anyway, it makes it, this is a competition, right? The best of the best. And the cream always rises to the top, bro.
Well, that's the whole point, is Olympia is supposed to be the elite. And if you have, 20 to 25 guys, that's still, to me, that's elite. Okay. Because that's what the Olympia was when we were younger. It's never been, it was never, the Arnold is the only show that really limited the divisions to like 15, because they wanted the show to have a certain pace to it and not be dragged on all night.
Right.
You know, they had other things going on, circus acts and all this shit going. But they stopped doing that. But open shows, I think, are different, because even when there's not a strong lineup in an open show, there's always at least a couple names. You're like, oh, this guy, that guy. Like this past example, the Flex Weekend Pro Italy, good example. It was a weak lineup. Let's say it. It was weak. But we still, I know who Andrea Presti is. I know who Nexzilla is. Most of the other, I've heard of Samir Tree, but most of those names, I'm like, who the hell is that? If you look at pro show lineups for other divisions in a lot of these tier 3 shows or whatever you want to call them, I don't know who any of these people are. So, do you watch the Olympics ever?
Yeah, I do. I'm a sports junkie like that.
Okay, so I'm going to rely on you for this info. Let's take an event like what's the top track thing, the 100-meter or something?
100 meter dash. Yes.
Okay, so that's the biggest, the most prestigious event in track at the Olympics.
Yes.
How many guys they have different heats? I mean, how many guys are on the track at once?
Well, listen, I'm not an expert like Travalis Blanc, he is, but there's like 3 or 4 to 5 different heats. The winners of those heats all meet at the very end to race for the gold medal. There's probably like 12 guys, 10, 12 guys in the final event.
Okay. So there's not 60 guys on track running at the same time.
Exactly.
So it's the best of the best. If you win an Olympic gold medal, obviously I don't want to say the Olympia. If you won the Olympia, you're not that great. No, you are, obviously. But you don't have people, you're never going to see someone at the Olympics in those heats in the 100-meter that's not one of the greatest runners in the world, right?
Those are the fastest men on earth, man.
Beings on earth.
Right.
But we do see some people that manage to get to Olympia, and they know, they're the people that are in like the 4th, 5th call-outs at these big divisions. I don't want to say they have no business. They earned their way there, so I can't say, no, you don't deserve to be in Olympia, because under the current system, they do deserve to be there the way it is now. But do they really? Are they the elite? If you're 50th, ranked 50th or 60th in the world in your sport, can you really say you're one of the very best? You're one of the elite of the elite?
That's like back in the day when like somebody goes, how'd you do at nationals? You go, oh, I was 15th. Right? Or you know what I mean? So Ron, I think too, bro, is that the Olympia to us is like the gold standard of everything. But I think nowadays people don't see how truly prestigious this event is and how much just hearing that theme song to a lot of cats our age does something to us. You hear people talk about like, oh, I'm going to the Olympia. There was a local girl here. She would always go, I'm going to Olympia. I want to go to Olympia. And I was just like, it's not, it's just old man shit, right? But I think because so many people go and so many people qualify that they don't get just how, and fans too go, oh, you took 5th, you suck. 5th place. Gary Stridham took 5th place, Ron. We know who took 5th. Robbie Robinson was 5th in 87, right? We know how prestigious that is. We know all the line of the guys, the champions that maybe never even placed top 10. You're right. Don Long never made it. And he was one of the greatest national champions ever. Right? So that show, it is prestigious. But when you have 122 girls going, right? And again, you said they earn the right, but 13th call out, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's hard work for the judges. No one has any sympathy for them, I'm sure, anyway. But I can't imagine as a judge, they do rotate the judges, so it's not the same judges judging everything all weekend. That would be ridiculous. But I've seen them up there for literally hours and hours with just a little water bottle and maybe a little granola bar or something, and I'm like, oh my god, I'd be peeing my pants and I'd be starving if I were these people. That's just me.
Awful.
So here's another interesting question to raise. If we make it much harder to qualify for the Olympia in any way, is that going to take away a lot of revenue from now? We're not going to have as many pro shows because, well, first of all, people say, well, just cut the pro. They're not going to cut the number of pro shows. That's not going to happen, guys. That is absolutely not on the table. But if you make it that much harder to get the Olympia, like say now you have to win 2 pro shows, I think that would discourage a lot of pros because they know the odds. I think some people, they're not delusional. They have a realistic idea of where they really stand. And they know they'd be very, very lucky to win 1 pro show in a season. To win 2, that's like hitting the lotto or something. They know they'd just be spinning their wheels and spending all this money on coaches and gear and food and everything for nothing. So
get better, dude. Well, then you know what? Get better, right? Yeah. Tom Brady's lost. He's lost Super Bowls. Guess what he did? He came back better. When you lose a show, guess what we did back in the day? We didn't go to a different class. We got better. We come back again. Hey, I didn't win another show. Let me go back. You chose this. And maybe not be your profession, but you chose this. This is not easy. It's hard to turn pro, right? It's hard to win a pro show. But the elite of the elite, if you can win 2 pro shows, right? Yeah. Maybe you can win 17 pro shows. You don't want Ashley winning all these shows? Beat her. Right? It goes back to competition, Ron. like it shouldn't like if they made it harder, you shouldn't go, oh shit, man, it's gonna be hard. You should be like, shoot, I can do this. I got this. Ain't nobody gonna beat me. No, listen, I may not have won every show, but I trained like I'm gonna beat everybody's ass. We all did. And and it just get better, make yourself better, win some shows. Right? If you made the Nationals like the overall winner again, only turns pro, I guarantee I don't think people have that killer instinct anymore, right, to where they'll just say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go in. I knew I wasn't gonna turn pro at the USA. I knew, but I still visualized myself winning that middleweight title, just doing the impossible. But it didn't discourage you from doing it. But I don't know if people have that kind of gumption, that kind of kick in the ass attitude anymore.
Well, you brought up the participation trophy generation that we're in now, where like back when we were kids, if you were on a sports team, or whatever, you sucked, you got told you sucked, and if you lost a game, you got chewed out by the coach or the man, whatever. They didn't say, oh, you guys, did you have fun? Did you try hard? That's all that counts now. You got chewed out if you lost a football game or a baseball game when you were kids, and you felt awful. They don't want anyone to feel bad anymore. But here's the thing, Jimmy. Jimmy Mentis, obviously. He was an IFBB pro. I guess technically still is. He's a promoter himself. He put it this way about making things more difficult to turn pro, making it harder to get to the Olympia, things like that. Those would all sort of take away the carrot that's dangled in front of these people. And without that carrot, you're going to lose a lot of competitors starting from the very ground up, from the lowest levels of the NPC. If they're like, oh, well, the junior shows don't turn you pro anymore. The top, you got to win your class now at Nationals, not just top 2 of the USA and Nationals. If you make it that much harder to turn pro, I think it would discourage a lot of amateurs, because they're just in it for the pro card and the attention and the validation. They put it on their Instagram account. It's not as many true athletes as I think there were back in the day. Back in our day, it was a lot of people that came from football, wrestling, very, very competitive athletic backgrounds. A lot of them played up to like college level, and this was just a further extension of their athletic career. So, like Phil Heath is a good example, Division I basketball player. They didn't have that mentality like, oh, well, I want an easy. If it's not going to be easy to turn pro, then I don't want to do it. They don't want it to be that difficult. They want the odds to be in their favor. That's why you go to the national shows. And again, it's a business. So this is great for the national level promoters. But you'll see, especially in those shows that offer masters divisions, the crossovers are insane. Oh, so I've seen shows where there's like there's a 50-year-old, there's 35, 40, 50, 55, whatever. And if someone's old enough, they'll do every single division that they're able to. They'll do over 35, 40, 45, 50. Yeah. They're paying a couple grand just in entry fees, but what they're doing is they're trying to stack the odds in their favor. They want to find a class that's easy enough because, again, a lot of them, they know they're not that great. They're not like Olympia caliber competitors. They'd be very lucky to turn pro. So they're trying to increase their odds of being lucky by doing as many classes as possible. So if we remove that, if we make it that much harder to turn pro, if we make it that much harder to get to Olympia, it's going to be bad for business. So I don't think any of these changes they're even feasible, because, again, I don't blame the IFBB Pro League and the NPC. I don't blame them for it. It's a business. Are they supposed to not make money? All of you guys out there, if someone said you're making too much money, you stop making so much money, you'd be like, screw you. Don't tell me how much money to make.
I wish you could see my blood pressure. I wish we could take my blood pressure right now when you said that, because remember in Popeye when the steam shut out their ears?
Yes.
Getting a job's hard, right? Bodybuilding is nothing compared to real life shit. If you don't think bodybuilding is not that difficult, getting a job's hard. Make it hard. I get it, Ron. It kills me because I just did that. Like, they don't have that kind of, like, I would go through a brick wall when I was dying for a show. Like, I would eat cat litter if you told me cat litter, right? I knew it was gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It's supposed to be hard, right? We do hard exercises. We eat tuna and broccoli back in the day because it was hard, right? Yeah. Life, you can't. It's kind of like life. You can't be handed things in life because when it gets really hard, you're going to crumble. Right. So it's just, I get like it is a business, but sometimes you got to just like, you got to suck it up, man. And no, like these kids, they're not competitive. It's just not competitive anymore. You know, like Martin plays sports. So he has that kind of competitive, I'm going to kick your ass attitude. And Derek was a wrestler, so he knows, right?
Yep.
But I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's just all weird to me, bro.
Well, it's, I don't want to make this an old versus young argument. I don't want all the youngsters to hate my guts, but I watched a video today about, it was comparing the dating market and how they have too many demands to like, they compare it to like the job market. If someone said to you, if they're out of work and you ask them, how's your job search going? And they're like, oh, I don't know why it's so hard. All I want is a super high paying job that's very low stress, where I don't have to work too hard. And it's very personally fulfilling. You'd laugh in their face, because if a job is going to be that well paying, it's going to be stressful, and it's probably not going to be, you're not going to become a millionaire doing building homes for Habitat for Humanity or saving the friggin' seals or something. You can't have everything. You have to pick and choose. You
got to work for what you want, man. Like Branch and Johnny worked their asses off, right? There was no fancy shit, no fancy equipment. They busted their ass in that dirty, dingy gym. But again, like, and I'm not shitting on guys now. I'm not shitting on any of these guys now, because listen, to get where these guys at, they're hyper competitive, right? Yeah. Derek, Sampson, they're uber competitive, but and they stuck with it. But I think people forget too in this sport. And I think what a lot of coaches don't tell a lot of people too is, this is the sport for the genetic elite. You can do it and have fun, right? But know where you stand. Right. Right. For sure. I got real quick. I'll never forget my last show. A kid was backstage. He wasn't in great shape. Right. I mean, he was decent. And he goes, I don't feel good. I go, what's wrong? He goes, my coach told me to take another diuretic. I don't feel right. I go, well, then don't take it. But this kid, he didn't have the genetics for it. What the point is. Right. Yeah. And instead of saying, hey, man, let's just go have fun, get in shape, see where you go, they're throwing all these stuff. You got to know where you stand in this sport and not be delusional, right? Because we all have a delusional part of us in this sport, Ron. Mm-hmm. And like we all do it. We don't see it, but we all are nutty delusional sometimes. But you have to be honest with yourself where you fall in the sport and if it's worth that. But again, you can't tell you if you told a 30-year-old Mike Cox that, I would say kiss my ass. So whatever. That was old man bullshit.
It's funny because I've talked to so many competitors, from the people with the shittiest genetics to the people with the most God-given genetics you could ever imagine. And ironically, a lot of the people with the best genetics I've ever met had the least realization of how good they were. And they had the lowest confidence. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. You could step on stage probably like with, an extra 20 pounds of body fat and still kick everyone's ass because your genetics are that good. Mm-hmm. And I meet a lot more people with average or below average genetics who've been gassed up by, I don't know, people at the gym, their friends, their family, social media. They think they're way better than they are. And, they have glaring flaws in their physiques that nobody is either have the balls to tell them, or they're just coaches. There's a lot of coaches out there who they'll lie to these people's faces and say, yeah, you could win this. And I'm like, dude, you're telling this person they could turn pro and they got a waist this wide and their clavicles are like this. And, they got a torn muscle and just glaring weak points that you can't have, because even though it's a lot easier to turn pro now in terms of there's a lot more pro cards.
Opportunities.
There are way more opportunities. I'm not going to reiterate how tough it was back in the day, but give you an example, just one tiny example. First NPC national champions. Lee Haney was the first.
Yep.
I think Gaspari was the second. Maybe it was Mike Christian was the third.
Christian, Paris.
Anyway, Bob Paris. They didn't get a pro card from winning the overall nationals. No. The only way in those days for anybody around the world to get a pro card, you'd have to win your country, and then you went to the IFBB World Championships. Some people used to call it the Universe. You had to win your class there against all the other national champions from all around the world. Then you were a pro. If it was like that now, how many people would even show up to compete at local shows? Because now it's, people wanted to turn pro back then, but they didn't have the expectation.
No.
I'm definitely going to turn pro because I want to turn pro and I deserve to turn pro.
I think too, Ryan, it's about like I think a lot of it too is about like now like belonging to something. Like we had a small circle back in the day, right? Our gym circle, maybe a few cats at another gym. Now it's like everybody wants that jersey with your name that says so and so team so and so IFBB Pro, right? So it's just I don't know, man. It's just how much is it do they love it, right? Like how much do you really love this, or how much are you doing it just for that name? I love I can't everything hurts to hell, but I still love going to that gym and training, right? I still visualize myself on stage while I'm in the gym doing legs. You know what I mean? So you know that's love, dude. Like that's the love for this crazy shit. But I don't know, like do they have are they still going to be training after competing? That's because I know a lot of guys, man, that I see could used to compete that don't even go near a gym, bro.
Oh,
They haven't touched the
I've heard it put this way. Social media is a very new thing in our life. To us, it's like it just happened as far as we're concerned. These other kids, there's a lot of Gen Z kids, they've grown up with it. They think it's always been around. But if there was no social media at all, if there was no Instagram, if there's no YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever the hell they have, how many people wouldn't even bother to train if there was no way to like blast it out to the world? Here's my workout today. Here's my selfie. And yes, I post selfies, guys. So I'm not shitting on you guys who do that, but there are a lot of people I believe who purely train. Like I've seen them if they can't. I've seen kids, young guys at my gym, girls, whatever. If they were having issues with their tripod or something, they just went home. They didn't even finish their workout. I'm like, really? You're not even going to finish the workout? They're like, this is for content. I needed the content. I'll have to come back tomorrow and do this.
That blows my mind. Holy crap, dude. Like, I remember, like, I would put my pager away when I go to the gym. Back when I was like, I had a pager. I'd leave the pager at the front desk so we would just go in there and train. We were in the moment. You were with your boys. You were training heavy. You're talking shit. You're seeing who's over there who's trying to like train as heavy as you. It was that kind of like atmosphere. It was competitive, right? Like, which goes right back to what you were saying to everybody's trophy. People aren't competitive anymore. But I guess, listen, if you're going to the gym and you're making changes, that's good, right? You're taking care of your health. If you find competition, God bless you. You're gonna love it for the rest of your life. But I don't know, man. Like I love this shit, man. Even I can't do it like I used to.
We got a question for you, Mike, from Stepanis.
Yes,
did
sir.
you break eggs individually for egg whites, or did egg whites pasteurized already available when you're bodybuilding? Also, was color television around yet? No, I added that part.
I always crack my individual egg whites. However, remember Ronnie Coleman's video, the cost of redemption? We had the liquid egg whites.
Yeah.
The Lana, it was Lana's and something else. I did for a phase through my cost of redemption phase, get the liquid egg whites. However, they were very expensive. And when I was young, I hate saying that, eggs were, I remember around when I was in college, 95, between 39 cents a dozen and 79 cents a dozen. I would eat like 36 egg whites a day because they were cheap.
Yeah.
Egg whites, tuna. If I was lucky, some chicken every now and then.
Yeah. I can remember in the 90s, I want to say it was early 90s. It must have been because, I had my first child at 94, but I was out in LA from 91 on. And my wife, we've heard about a place. Okay, so it must have been after 92 because we were living in the Pasadena area. We were living in San Gabriel Valley. Egg whites, as far as like buying them at the store, and that didn't exist yet. But we heard about there was some local egg farm that on Sundays between like noon and 3 p.m. you could go and they would sell gallon jugs of egg whites for I don't know what the price was, but you're like, oh my God, egg whites! You can buy egg whites. And every Sunday I'd be there, and there was a line of people waiting because it was such a rare thing. Because otherwise, we cracked. And now we know. I just did a whole thing with Dr. T about whole eggs aren't that bad for you. Like we were sold a bill of goods. They eat an egg yolk and have a heart attack like 5 minutes later.
Can't have the fat, man. Can't have the fat. I have like no fat, zero carbs, high protein.
Like the Chris Aceto contest diet, basically.
Yeah, it worked, man. Holy shit.
Oh, you could go on about this. Some young 20s, a lot of guys that work for us suck. Well, you were dealing with a lot of the Gen Z's with their applications.
You have to you got to be very patient and not. If you're on a video, when I'm on a video, I have to like watch my facial expressions now because sometimes they'll say stuff and I just want to like go. Are you serious? Like real quick. One girl we had a job fair from online, and she was on the toilet. Ron, she was on the toilet.
Wow.
Yeah, man. And
bro, could you hear like the poop?
I heard the flush, Ron, and she said, "Hold on a second." Put the phone down. I knew she was pulling her pants up, and she's walking out of the bathroom like, "All right, thank you. I thank."
Wow.
Yeah. So, yep.
Unbelievable. Are you related to Mike Hunt?
No, I am related to Hugh G-Rection, however.
Yeah, he's good too. Let's see what else we got. They're all teen chimps got old. I don't know what that was in reference to. We're guys back then so much better than today. That's a good question. Do you think the physiques? There's a lot more bodybuilders now, but I put bodybuilders. If I had two hands, I'd make air quotes, but I only have one. I'm going to have one quote. I'd say there's a lot more people training in gyms now than there were when we were young, but I'd say the quality of physiques overall was better back then per capita.
Right.
You walked into a gym and you didn't have 500 people and only like 3 of them had a decent build. You know, I remember like you could probably confirm this. I remember back when a 500-pound bench was good, but it wasn't anything special. Every gym I ever went to, there was at least a couple guys that could bench 500 pounds.
There's some freaks. We had some freaks at the gym. Like Michael Lockett came into my gym a couple of times training where early on, like late 90s, before he was locked. There were some freaks. I was in a powerlifting gym for a while, Ron. So those guys threw some shit, but the physiques, I think the quality was better. I think classic physiques stole a lot of great pro physiques, right? Like Cormier and Milos had classic physiques, but they were open bodybuilders. Mike Sommerfeld, Terrence, those guys would be great open bodybuilders if there weren't, but classic stole a lot of talent, unfortunately.
Dorian said in an interview a year, I don't know when this was, but he said the same thing is, when there was one division, all the genetic freaks, the people with the best genetics, we saw them on the bodybuilding stage. Now, a lot of them, they might go to men's physique and they'll never put on the size they could have. Maybe they don't want to anyway, but we never got to see those physiques, what they could have been, because they went into another division where you're not supposed to be that big. And same thing with classic. There's a lot of guys in classic, if they filled out more and put on another, 20, 30 pounds, they'd be amazing, but we're never going to see that because there's a weight cap that they have to stay inside of.
But too, Ryan, you know what? I think we're at a point in sport now where some classic guys will be rewarded because we're rewarding that X frame now, right? So even a little bit fuller, you may not be the biggest guy out there, but they're going to see you, right? The judges, they'll see that shape, they'll see it. So you can earn your stripes, man.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Wait, they want to make it in one invite only. Am I missing something? Oh, so your mom's flip-flop. He's over in Germany. It's probably time for you to go to bed soon, kid. But it's like 11 o'clock, like midnight over there already. Yeah, so we covered that in the very beginning. The invite-only concept, which has been brought up, I think it was Matt at Muscle Discord was the first one that really wanted to make that a big talking point. It just wouldn't work. It invites too much room for politics and favoring people with huge social media followings. It's just too subjective. There's like who are we going to invite versus who should be invited, and it'd be a shit show. People would be up in arms over who didn't get invited, and even who did get invited. You should go to pro in person. Yes, that is absolutely true. As Bob, it's Mike can say this. When you're up front, as we've both been, it's completely different seeing what these guys really look like when they're 10 feet in front of you. You could see every little freaking fiber when they flex, and
all the little strange lumps and bumps that probably shouldn't be there that you may not see. Even the vascularity, bro.
You can't see that on this. It's just not going to.
It's not the same. You can't see when they're turning, and it's a whole different point. Like when you're in person, man, it's actually absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah. What else we got? Sorry, there was a grammar thing. I always say this. No social media would. If they're in a social media, gyms would lose half their memberships. Would be awesome again. Same with no phone. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
my younger brother he just goes to like a Planet Fitness, so he's not serious at all. But he said the one thing that pisses him off is there's people that will not, nobody lets you work in anymore, and they will sit there on their phone for up to 5 minutes between sets, scrolling through media, texting people, whatever, watching videos before they, and they won't. And and if you ask them, he's asked people to work in, they're like, I'm not done. He's asking how many were sets. They're like, I don't know. And they'll sit on the same piece of equipment for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's
Yeah.
the gym
I'm like,
etiquette.
I've seen that where I go, I'm working in with you. I'm not asking you. I was like, I'm working in with you. Or I go, how many scrolls do you have left?
Yeah. How many scrolls do you have left? Who was it? I don't think it was Stridham, so I don't want to make him to be the asshole, but was it Romano? Romano he was with somebody training for the Olympia. Maybe it was Stridham. I don't want to say it was because I don't know who. They're going to think he's an asshole. But if somebody was on a machine that he wanted, he would physically, if they wouldn't get up, he would physically lift them up and says, "I'm training for the Mr. Olympia. Get the fuck out of here." Because they didn't want to let him work in on it's.
Dude, I would let a pro work in with me. What do you do? And that's just etiquette, bro. Like, there's no etiquette anymore at the gym. They don't understand that. There's none, zero, gone.
Oh, well, here's a good question. So yeah, this has been. I think it was John from Serious and Silliness said it's so much harder for the pros now because they get shit on social media. Mm-hmm. But is it really? So this Raven says pros like Samson Derek. They hate on the new Mr. Rowe. Do they really get that much hate? I think they can choose to read the comments or not read the comments. Nobody has to read. If you don't want to turn your comments off or don't read your comments, because you can never be guaranteed that everyone's going to blow sunshine up your ass and tell you you're awesome. You're going to always have trolls who say you suck, you're this, you're that. So if it bothers you, don't read the comments, or you can turn comments off on all your posts because you're going to get some shit no matter who you are. You could be the greatest bodybuilder in the world like Samson Dauda is right now. He's Mr. Olympia, and people shit all over him. He's got oil in his arms. He's fat. He's this and that. You could be the greatest, and people are still going to be negative.
It comes with the sport, man. Listen, they don't talk fans talk worse about these college football players. Trust me, these 18, 19-year-old kids. Like they get way worse than pro bodybuilders get because there's gambling involved now. There's sports betting, and so these bodybuilders. Listen, I get when you're dieting, you may be, but you're in charge of like how you feel about yourself with social media. You choose to and it's some random dude. It's not like it's your mama, right? If your mama called and saying you suck, then yeah, but right, I enjoy the trolls. I enjoy interacting with people like that. I love when people talk. I'm very witty, and I've got a whole slew of memes saved for people. So I get it. I love it. But I guess when you're dieting, you're a little trend up and electrode up, and your hormones are out of whack. I get it. I wanted to kill Rocky at one point when I was 2 weeks out from a show. So
yeah. Well, you were a big star, whatever. You were a major personality on GetBig.com.
Yeah.
But that was like troll heaven over there. That was infested with trolls.
It's funny. Every now and then I'll still go over there just to troll some people because, hey, bitches, but you have to learn to take it and not get so. You know what I tell people? Just turn it off. Just turn it off. And then we turn it off, real life happens. Real life's gonna happen. When I go out there, I'm gonna watch TV, talk to Manny. That's real life. Yeah. I love shooting the shit online, talking shit, man. That's hilarious to me. Get big, awesome, bro.
Get big, yeah. I mean, I remember one time someone posted pictures of my wife on Get Big when she was in contest conditions, so her face was a little sunken, and I think she was on a little bit of Anavar at the time, perhaps, maybe a little bit of Primo. I think whatever. They said this. She looks like Steven Tyler, not Steven Tyler, the guitarist for Aerosmith, and I should know this. Steve Perry or Joe Perry.
Yeah.
And my God, I just wanted to jump through the computer and murder this person. I was so angry.
And most people they don't even train. Right. They don't even they go to go. It's like me going to a NASCAR website for them, right? They don't train, bro. So, but like people are idiots. They just, people just seem to calm down. And why go to somebody's page just to be a dick on purpose, right? Like, what are you getting from that? Like, appreciate being able to have constant contact with Mr. Freaking Olympia. Like, whenever I see somebody like Samson Dada, like I'm like, oh shit, fanboy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, when we were kids, how many times have I said this? If you took a shot for every time I said that during this episode, you'd probably be drunk as fuck right now. But we had to write letters to the pros. They would have like a P.O. box, and you would have a self-addressed stamped envelope to get them to write back to you. Yes. Maybe they wouldn't, maybe they wouldn't. That was your only way, unless you went to a seminar or something that they were coming into your area. Yeah. We had no access to the pros. These people can message the pros. They can leave comments on their posts for them to read on their YouTube videos. The amount of access that the fans have to the pros now is insane.
And I think that takes away some of that like superhero type of view of them, right? Because like I remember I saw Robbie Robinson run the first time he guest posed. I'm like, this guy was in Pumping Iron. I was 16 years old and I was like, Robbie freaking Robinson. Like now it's just like they're so desensitized kind of to seeing these guys. It's like I'm gonna see Leonard Murray in like 6 weeks, bro. I'm like, I'm excited now.
All right, this will be the last question, then we're gonna take off. 2017, Phil. So that was that the last year he won?
Yeah.
2018, he got beat by Roden. So 2017 was his last win versus 2025 Derek. I'm assuming they mean Derek at the Arnold. Who wins?
Man, listen, Phil, not great, is still Phil. He's still Ryan. You know what's funny? That's a pretty good question. Like, because Derek checks the boxes, that X frame, and Phil wasn't great in 2017. Like, he started to get that distension.
Yeah.
And from the back, that Derek, I'm gonna say Derek beats 2017 Phil.
Really? I'm gonna go the other way. I'll go with Phil, and you know why? Detail, separation. I like Derek. Derek knows this. He won't give me an interview because I'm small potatoes now. But please, Derek, please. You just don't see the reason Phil beat so many people. One of the reasons, there was a lot of reasons. He had mass, but it was such deep, clear muscle separation, so much detail inside the muscle groups. Derek hits a front double, and it's just like a big blob. Whereas Phil, you could see this fiber, that fiber. There was stick your fingers in the separations between every different head of the triceps and all that. He had cross striations on his triceps. It was a sight to see. Phil said we would miss him when he was gone toward the end. Gee, damn, was he right? I do miss Phil.
Dude, that was next level. So we won't see something like Phil again either, bro. And like he set a standard that, again, fans appreciate what you're watching. Stop talking shit, because when they're gone, they're gone, right? Samson's getting up there. If he wins, appreciate him, congratulate him. Don't hate. You hate the judges. If you don't like the decision, hate the judges.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, because he's not showing any signs of leaving anytime soon, but he's almost 40. You think he's going to be doing this when he's 60? Come on, guys. So
exactly,
right.
Bro.
I'm going to cut it loose. It's been over an hour. Mike, you've been very generous with your time. Didn't have to wait an hour this time, because last time I was waiting around to see if my surgery was getting canceled at the last minute. But guys, we had a lot of ideas, but give us more ideas. What do you think about how to get this Olympia down to a reasonable number of competitors per division, so we don't have 300 competitors in the show, and we don't have judging going till 1 a.m, and people in Europe having to stay up till 7 or 8 a.m. to watch the live stream. It just makes it better. It makes it a better experience for everyone if the show is just a little bit smaller and more bite-sized, more manageable. So give me your ideas. Point system, invite only. What do you want? What do you think should be done? Let me know in the comments, guys. There are no wrong answers here, and I can't say I'm going to forward all your ideas to Pittsburgh, because I'm not. Anyway, thank you, Mike. Appreciate you as always,
bro. Love it, man.
Big Mike Cox, Michigan sucks, but that's just Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Yes, that's it. Everybody else is cool.
Everyone else is cool. So thank guys for watching, and I will see you right here, hopefully, on the next episode of Power Hour. Thanks for watching.